So there's this bird, right? And this bird flies around town, it flies around the world, it flies around the city, and this bird gets to this tree. And this bird flies onto the tree and it sits on the branch. And the people below ask the bird, how do you know that when you land on that branch, you're not going to fall and die? And the bird looks at the man and he says, because I don't believe that the branch won't break, because that would be stupid. But I believe that if the branch breaks, I'll be able to fly away and save myself. And I think that this little story is something a lot of people need to hear, and a lot of people need to have belief in themselves. You see, a lot of times we go around life asking ourselves, is it guaranteed? How do I know for sure it's going to work? What if I do if I lose? Or how do I deal with rejection? Or, all these crazy things that we think about all the time, right? Like, what if I do if this girl leaves me? Or how do I make sure I succeed in entrepreneurship? And we're always looking for these external things to keep us safe. But I think that question is fundamentally flawed. We shouldn't be relying on external things, right? We shouldn't be relying on the fact that the branch isn't going to snap, because guess what? The branch may snap, it may not. Right? That branch may have been there sitting in the rain and now maybe super wet and maybe predisposed to, falling off. Or maybe that branch is super old, right? Or maybe that branch has been landed on thousands of times before and now is the time that it breaks. We don't know these things because we don't control the branch, right? And so there's no point us focusing on, hey, will this branch break or not? Because that would be useless. We don't control the branch, and therefore why put our energy and our time into it? Right? You don't control the weather, and so why sit here and be mad if it snows, or if it rains, or if it's sun, or if it shines or not? Why be mad? You can't control it in the first place. And this applies and directly carries over into life, which is that you shouldn't have to sit there and rely on external things like, oh, how do I know for sure this program is going to work? Or how do I know for sure this girl won't leave me? How do I know for sure I won't go broke? Because you're asking the wrong questions. The question is, what if those things do happen? Because, and they probably will, right? More often than not, the branch may break. We don't know. We're not totally sure. We have to expect it might. It shouldn't be, how do we make sure the branch doesn't break? It's, if the branch breaks, do we have enough conviction, enough faith, enough belief in ourselves to figure it out? And this is a concept that's talked about a lot in relationships, which is that you shouldn't have to believe, what if this girl breaks up with me? Like, oh my goodness, like, what do I do? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, is this girl the right one? Et cetera. You should go, you know what? I'm gonna sit here and love this girl entirely with all of my heart and give her my everything. I want to be the best man that I can ever be to her, okay? And God forbid that something ever happens that breaks us apart, that's fine. That's okay, because I'll know I'll be able to deal with it. You don't have to sit there and trust the fact that she's not going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because guess what? People do stupid shit nowadays. And if that's how you operate, you're going to spend a lot of your time sitting there worrying and being anxious and all these crazy things, right? Instead of that, just have enough faith, enough belief in yourself that if something does go wrong, God forbid something does happen, you're able to take care of yourself. And this completely changes your mindset, because now you focus on the controllables. You focus on things that you can control. You focus on yourself. And that's where all the power is. Right? That's where the power is. You get the power back, the control back, when you put it on yourself. Because now let's say something does happen. Well, now instead of your world being broken, hey, the branch broke, but I can still fly away. The branch may have broken, I may have started falling, but I still have the ability to fly away. The problem is most people rely so much on the branch that when the branch breaks, they forget the fact that they even have wings in the first place, and they don't fly. And then they hit the bottom, and they die, splat onto the ground. See, a lot of people have wings, but they forget to use them because they put so much of their faith in the branch. I think we need to change that. We need to stop having faith in the branch and go, you know what, the branch may break, it may not. I hope it doesn't break, that's my hope. But once again, I don't want to be idealistic, I want to be realistic. And the fact is, the branch may break, that may happen, there's a possibility that happens. And so instead of sitting here putting all my eggs in one basket and hoping and praying that the branch doesn't break, let me sit here and focus on myself and make sure if it does break, I know I can find my way out of it. Right? I know that if this program doesn't go through, I can still make the best of it. I know if I do fail as an entrepreneur, I'll still make the most of it. I do know if I do commit to this relationship and something bad happens, I'll be able to get out on the other side. I think these are the questions we have to start asking ourselves. And this is the belief that we have to have. It's not, hey, how do I make sure this thing works? It's how to make sure that no matter what happens, good and or bad, no matter the outcome, I can still walk away fine. Instead of focusing on the externals, the uncontrollables, we focus on the things we can control. Right? Because a lot of people have a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress because they try and focus on things they can't even control. And of course it's going to bring you stress because you can't control it. But if you can't control it, stop thinking about it because you can't change it. Same with the weather. I don't understand people that get sad because it's raining outside or because it's snowing, right? You can see the snow on the ground. I don't understand those people. It's just weather. It's not good nor bad. It's just weather. And you can't do anything about it. So why are you dictating your quality of life based on how Mother Nature operates? It doesn't make any sense. And so I would encourage and hope that you don't do that, because that way you live a life that's very unfulfilling and very shallow and very sad and very reliant and very dependent. And when you live a life of dependency, you don't live a good life. You need to become self-reliant, self-made. Okay? So that is the story of the tree and the branch, and I guess my sort of argument and my enlightenment towards the fact that I hope that you aren't so focused on how do I make sure this works, A, B, C, D, F, G. It's just how can I make sure no matter what branch I land on, I can still fly away just fine. Because that's the point of this story, is that no matter where you put your eggs, no matter what happens, you can make it out and walk out on the other side just fine, because you focused on you focused on the controllables, not the uncontrollables. So I hope this story inspired you a little bit so you can go out there, because it's something that's helped me a lot, not even just in the business side of things, but also just in my personal life, is viewing the world this way, where it's like, hey, I'll land on whatever branch. Obviously, I'm going to try and pick a good branch because I'm not going to be stupid about it. But, I understand that sometimes things can happen. Instead of getting emotional, reacting and all this stuff, I got to just have enough faith and respect for myself to fly away. Even though, maybe I really like that branch. Or maybe I wish that branch could have worked. Sometimes life doesn't go that way. And that means you just have to get up and keep moving.